diplomacy, did relationships matter? That this is really about good relationships as much as it's about simple lists of arms?
Oh yes, entirely. And Ben Wallace has some of the best relationships with his fellow defence ministers around the world, because he has been at the forefront of gathering alliances of Western countries, NATO countries, to get more weapons to Ukraine. He's incredibly popular in their service because he speaks so frankly to other allies as well, saying, look, we've all got to do more. His remarks here today are undiplomatic because they can be suggested somehow that he said them in a fit of pique, that he was frustrated. Then look, the American Ukrainians got to be more grateful. Actually, what he was really saying is that his advice to his Ukrainian allies is to understand a bit of the political pressures that the allies, various countries are under, particularly the United States. Because the United States is moving into an electoral cycle. There are many Republicans now who do not like the idea of a blank check being just Ukraine. They think they're supposed to focus on China rather than the security issue in Europe. And these are the pressures and constraints currently bearing down on the Biden administration. So he's saying, look, when you go there, don't just think that the United States and other allies are a bit like Amazon. You can just hand over your list of weapons and just sort of get them sent by the next post. Just be a little bit more grateful. So in other words, he's advising sort of political savvy to the Ukrainians rather than sort of, being angry at them and saying, you definitely should be more grateful to Spurs, but they're like a spot to it. However, the way that that language to be interpreted has already caused fuss because the Prime Minister, Sunak, has had to disown them and say, no, of course, we've always been very grateful to the Ukrainians. President Zelensky has just been asked about it and sort of looking up and saying, well, we've always been grateful. And kind of, so he got his defence minister, Mr. Reznikov, to stand up in the press conference and say, do you know anything about this? Well, anyway, you need to call Mr. Wallace to find out what he was talking about. So in other words, it's caused a little bit of a little diplomatic fracas on a day when I think most allies would have preferred there to be a message of complete unity.
James Landale at the NATO in Vilnius. Thank you so much for joining us. Return to Kenya now. The opposition leader Raila Odinga has called off a rally that had been planned in the country's capital, Nairobi, saying he wanted to avert further violence. At least one person has been killed during a day of protests across the country. The BBC's, I should say, Beverly Osho, is following the story in Nairobi and joins us now. What were the protests for in the first place?
Well, initially they had been called sometime early in the year to push against the election outcome from last year where Odinga had lost the Ruto. But now there's more people concerned about the cost of living. There is a new finance law that's coming into play. It's been suspended by court temporarily, but essentially it increases taxes on salaried workers. It extends the financial burden for many who are earning low wages, and they're concerned that it will increase the cost of living. Fuel prices run up, transport prices want to go up by 30%, and people are quite angry about this because Ruto did pledge in his campaign to support low-income earners and so-called hustlers in the economy.
When we look at the complexion of these protests, we see at least one person has been killed today, several killed Friday. How does the country deal with these continued numbers, not just of injuries, but of people worse?
I mean, today, for instance, there were lots of road blocks in certain areas where there were expectations that there would be violence. When I was driving home to work, there was an area in Kangemi where they'd already cordoned off roads, there were riots into the streets. Of course, there's always the possibility of violent confrontations. Tear gas has been fired. There's a case where students have been fired and about 50 of them are injured and seeking treatment. Whenever it does happen, there's some contingencies in place where police and security will be heightened, but there's often those confrontations which does need to be violent, particularly in largely concentrated areas and urban areas within the country.
What prospects might there be for any kind of dialogue?
There have been talks, bipartisan talks, after the last round of demonstrations in March, but there was contention and differences. One over the finance law, which ended up being passed by Parliament and was assented to by the President. Afterwards, there was contention about the representatives who are within both sides, so Odinga's Azimio La Umoja coalition, as well as the Kenya coalition. These issues were ironed out, but after the financial law came into place, those bypassing talks collapsed again, and Odinga mobilized supporters as a way of putting pressure on the government. It's not very clear whether there will be a resolution. Of course, there are calls on both sides for them to go back to the table. But the concern also is that it's not just about the cost of living. The biggest issue with political representation is contention. And without that, for Odinga, for instance, it's very difficult for them to back down from their hard-line stance against each other.
Beverly, as you go around Nairobi and the practice of your work, when you speak to people, are they polarized about this? Does opinion fall on a varying range of spectrums?
I think right now a lot of people are very disgruntled by this finance bill. They're not really concerned about the political fallout from the election. They're concerned about the fact that their incomes will be dwindling and be taking on an extra burden, and they're not quite sure if some of the pledges that the government has made coming into office will be fulfilled. There's lots of impatience on some of the conversations that I've been listening to on some of the local domestic radios, where people talk about the cost of living going up, the fact that the cost of fuel has gone up, that the government doesn't seem to be listening to people's sentiment around their income, the housing tax is coming into place, there's no guarantee for many who feel that they might not be able to get the benefits that the government is spending by introducing these taxes.
Beverly Ocheng from Nairobi. In Nairobi, I should say thank you so much for joining us. This is OS on the BBC World Service with me, James Reynolds, live from the heart of our newsroom in central London. Time to take a look at a few more stories on the news. The President of Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, has paid his first visit in over a decade to the city of Jenin in the occupied West Bank. It comes a week after a huge Israeli military assault on the city's refugee camp. The visit was a bit to reassert control by the Palestinian Authority leader amid the worst security and political crisis in the territory in 2 decades. The double Olympic 800-meter champion Caster Semenya says justice is spoken after the European Court of Human Rights ruled in her favour on Tuesday. Semenya won her appeal against the government of Switzerland for not protecting her rights, who dates back to a Swiss Supreme Court ruling in 2020. In a statement, 32-year-old South African said the decision has been a long time coming. And the nominees for the 71st Emmy Awards, television's top honour, has been announced. The drama series Succession leads with 27 nominations, followed by The Last of Us with 24, The White Lotus with 23, and Ted Lasso straggled behind on just 21. A TikTok video of a fan attempting a stage dive during Rapper's performance at the open-air Fraunhofer Festival in Switzerland has gone viral. Rapper Ski Mask the Slump God encouraged the fan to dive. The crowd didn't catch him in time, which resulted in him plummeting headfirst. Thankfully, no one was unhurt. After a few seconds, he stood up and walked away. No doubt the little bit was hospital. In the past, concert attendees have suffered serious injuries from the stage dive. Earlier, we received a message from a musician from Sheffield, that's the head up in the north of England, who shared top tips what it takes to perform a successful stage dive.
Hi, this is Jack, playing across Bloodhounds. We're an indie rock band from Sheffield, and yeah, I've stage dived once, and it was one of the best things I've ever done at a gig. It was great. It was the best finish to get one of the stages where it's just the right height, no barriers, easy enough for a bit of a jump off, and the crowd getting just about willing enough to let you carry away. And being a guitarist, top it, land on your back, don't try and stage dive forward. I'm always jealous of those standalone singers. They just get a microphone, they get down into the sky, launch themselves and ride the waves with human hands. But no, when you're a guitarist, you've got to fall backwards, and then you've got to have a long lead. Otherwise, that's it enough fun. If you can get a mate to grab the lead and hold it above the cable above the crowd, then you're on to a winner. But no, I only did it once. We played I only did it once, and it was at a headline gig we played at the Underbelly, I think in Tottenham Square, and yeah, it was really good. I think I hadn't intended to do it. I sort of got a bit near to the edge of the crowd, and people made their hands up like they were expecting a stage dive, and then I was like, oh, well, alright then, if you're up for it, I'm going to bloody do it then. And yeah, just went for it, and it didn't last too long, because people get tired pretty quickly, but it was good fun, and we've got a big gig next Saturday, and I reckon it's right for a both dive. We're playing the Tramline Festival and the Crystal Stage at the Fringe and the Library Stage at the official Tramline Festival, and being a hometown Sheffield show, I reckon that's a perfect opportunity for a good stage dive.
in my teens, I was really into sort of my hard rock and heavy metal stuff. I went to a lot of sort of gigs like that where it was always just stage diving. And as a young, as a teenager, it was really exciting. I couldn't wait until I was a bit older, more confident in myself. There were two occasions that I witnessed put me on the world of stage diving. The first was someone at a gig, let the crowd carried along. By the time he'd been put down again, he'd had both his shoes, his keys, his wallet stolen, which I thought was, less than ideal. And the second one was at a heavy metal gig, which I've been to for many years, where I saw a large gentleman stage dive not get through in any capacity, and bone ended up sticking out his ankle, which was not a sight to be seen for anyone really. So yeah, stage diving just doesn't appeal to me anymore, I'm afraid.
James with you on OS from the BBC World Service. If you want to keep an eye on any of our stories, particularly events in Ukraine and the summit which has been held in Vilnius in Lithuania, do have a look at the BBC's live page, which has constant updates on what President Zelensky's been saying at that summit. And also on the Asia live page, you'll find a range of stories from our bureaus and our teams across the region. Some of our teams who focus on Asia are here in this building, including BBC Burmese editor Selwyn Tan, who's here to discuss the following story. Rohingya refugees who are in Bangladesh are under pressure to move back to their home in Myanmar. This is part of a repatriation scheme which is being attempted for the third time. Selwyn Tan will explain us third time what happened the first two times.
The first two times the attempts were in 2018 and 19, a year after block of refugees had fled from Myanmar to Bangladesh, because that never materialized, because there was intrinsic mistrust by the Rohingya on the authorities there. And they suffered, atrocious crimes. So there was no guarantee for them for their safe return, or they were never promised that they could go back to their homeland, to their native places. And also the most important thing is they were never promised the citizenship which they wanted. So that's why the first two attempts were never materialized.
And yet it's been tried for a third time. Talk to us about the practicalities of it. Who is it who makes the suggestion of repatriation? Is it knocking on doors by government officials? How does it work?
So there was already agreed between two governments, Bangladesh and Myanmar government, since 2018. The Myanmar said that they would take back refugees. Bangladesh government also wanted to send them back, but there were so the refugees wanted the involvement of the United Nations to oversee their repatriation, but the two governments, especially the Myanmar government, did not want the UN's involvement. So that's the kind of their own independent arrangement. So Myanmar wanted them, although Myanmar never was willing to take them back, because the regime, the current regime and the respective authorities insisted that Rohingyas are the illegal migrants from Bangladesh. So they never willingly wanted to take them back. But there was a lot of international pressure. Myanmar government is facing this cold case at international court of justice. So the charges of genocide against the Rohingyas, they had to do something. That's why they started this initiative to take them. So the latest start attempt was a pilot project to take back just over 1,000 refugees. But then in early May, that a group of 20 Rohingyas were kind of brought back to see the repatriation effort. But the refugees went back and they said that what they saw wasn't satisfactory.
Did they explain why it wasn't satisfactory?
Yeah, so that the places that they were hoping that they would be housed are camp-like things, like there would be security guards, and then they would not be allowed to go outside freely. And most important thing, and then they always insisted that they wanted to go back and they wanted to enjoy the life as other citizens of Myanmar. But there was never a promise by the regime that they would be given that citizenship. That's the main sticking point, which is not solved until now.
Do we know how many Rohingya refugees are currently sheltering in Bangladesh?
It's over 1 million. And the latest kind of flux of refugees fled in 2017 were nearly 800,000.
And of those 800,000 million, what's actually happened to their homes in Myanmar?
So when the security troops raided their places, that they razed them to the ground, they burnt their villages, and once they fled, their original homes were razed, dismantled, and then there was a kind of clear that's a big plain. So the places that transit was built to house them were far away from their original places. That's also one of the reasons that raiders didn't want to go back.
So they would just be going back to empty fields?
They would be initially housed in those transit camps, the camp-like things, which would be guarded by the security troops, so they could not travel freely, even within the region.
And when you speak, you and your colleagues, to those Rohingyas who are in Bangladesh, what do they say that their expectation is?
They do want to go back, because the conditions that they lived in Bangladesh camps were also very poor. Recently the UN, the World Food Program, cut their daily and monthly allowance to them, so they feel unwanted in Bangladesh as well. Bangladesh government also said they always wanted them to go back to Myanmar. So that's why they wanted to go back. But without those kind of guarantees that they need, like safe return, dignified returns, and free, allow permission to freely travel, permission to kind of look after their own livelihoods, and most important, the citizenship. So they can't go back. They want to go back, but still they are in limbo in those things.
UTC Burmese editor, Sorin Taggart, as always. Thank you so much for stopping. James Reynolds with you on OS from the BBC. Leslie Van Houten, a former follower of the notorious cult leader Charles Manson, has been released on parole after serving more than 5 decades of a life sentence for 2 brutal murders. The 73-year-old was a member of the Manson family when she took part in the murder of a Los Angeles grocer and his wife in 1969. She was 19 at the time. Who exactly was Charles Manson? Tarek Habton from the ICT explains.
Manson was actually born Charles Maddox in Cincinnati, Ohio, to an unwed teen mother, but took his stepfather's surname when she married shortly after his birth. He had a troubled life, and by the age of 17 had a string of convictions behind him and was classified as dangerous by prison authorities. Manson was regularly in and out of jail. When he was released in 1967, he actually pleaded with authorities to keep him locked up as he couldn't face the outside world. In 1969, California's Summer of Love was shattered by a killing spree ordered by Manson and executed by the Manson family gang over a number of weeks. Despite not being present at any of the killings, Manson was convicted of conspiracy to murder and sentenced to death in 1971. The trial prosecutor, Vincent Bugliosi, said this at the time: "The very name Manson has become a metaphor for evil, and evil has its allure. Manson's death sentence was commuted to 9 life sentences when California abolished the death penalty in 1972. By the turn of the 80s, Manson's popularity grew and he would regularly receive sentencing in prison. In 2017, Manson died of natural causes in a state hospital at the age of 83.
Tarek Habton reporting. Well, Nancy Petrol is Leslie Van Houten's sister.
She went in at the age of 19. She was a young person, and she's turning 74 next month. So she's an elderly woman. She's never used the internet to do searches. She doesn't have a cell phone. She has to learn to drive. She even has to learn how to shop at the market, because when she went into prison, we just had grocery stores. And now, even that has changed. She was spending more of the transitional residential program, which is geared at helping her reintegrate into free society.
And to Petrol, the lawyer for Leslie Van Houten. Well, I want to keep us up to date with our main story for the last couple of hours here on the BBC. The fact that the summit has been held of NATO leaders. I'm just looking at pictures of a US podium being set up and a cheering crowd trying to see whether or not that's President Biden. That is the Lithuanian president there at the podium. There is a US flag behind the Lithuanian president, so leading us to suspect that we will hear momentarily from President Biden with his thoughts about a summit that has had at its focus the central question of Ukraine. What kind of support NATO members of the Western military alliance should be offering Ukraine short of the full membership that the alliance does does not want to offer whilst the Russian invasion continues. We'll hear from President Biden in a few minutes' time, and we'll keep you up to date with what President Zelensky of Ukraine has been saying. All ahead on us.
Thanks for joining us. In half an hour, you can hear Outlook.
An ancestry soaked in murder for money. Enter Martin Scorsese, who wants to turn it into a movie. It's your family story, so what do you do? When you tell Scorsese what he needs to know.
That's followed by Witness History. Today, we hear the story of the world's first robot dog.
The rich included a program that allowed its personality to grow and change as people interacted with it.
And at bbcworldservice.com, the Climate Question investigates how climate change is affecting the world of fashion.
You know, emissions associated from everything from the cotton pattern of farming, the logistics of transporting it, the refining, washing that cotton, those emissions are immense.
You can hear that and more at bbcworldservice.com.
Hello, this is James Roberts, live from the BBC newsroom in central London. Welcome to OS. We're keeping a close eye on the world leaders who've been speaking to reporters and to crowds in the wake of the NATO summit of the military alliance in Vilnius in Lithuania. In a few minutes' time on this program, we will hear from Ukrainians who've been watching what's been going on at the NATO summit. How much does membership of NATO mean to them? We'll get that next.
Leaders of the G20 of the world's richest nations have finally agreed long-term security guarantees for Ukraine at the major NATO summit in Lithuania. President Zelensky welcomed the initiative, but said it wasn't a substitute for NATO membership. Russia's defense ministry says the Wagner paramilitary group has surrendered more than 2,000 pieces of military equipment, including tanks, anti-aircraft guns, and artillery. The mercenaries staged a brief mutiny last month. UN says 120 million more people have been pushed into hunger since 2019. It blames the COVID pandemic, extreme weather, and the war in Ukraine. Africa remains the worst hit region. At least 3 people have been killed in Kenya during protests against tax hikes. Police across the country have used tear gas to discourage crime. Deforestation in Colombia has fallen to its lowest level in a decade. New figures show 60,000 hectares of forest were saved last year in areas including the Amazon. It represents nearly 30% annual reduction in deforestation. Prosecutors in the Canary Islands have filed a lawsuit alleging negligence by the Spanish authorities used most of the deaths of 36 migrants who tried to reach the territory last month. The inflatable boats were in sank after waiting 10 hours for help. Hundreds of residents in India's capital Delhi have been evacuated as the water level of the Yamuna River continues to rise. Northern India has seen torrential rain for the past week. Doctors in Georgia have begun a medical examination of the jailed former president Saakashvili. Concerns arose after he appeared full in court. He staged hunger strikes and been jailed in 2021. BBC News.
James Roberts with you on OS on the BBC World Service live from our newsroom here in central London. Some of the screens in front of me are showing political leaders who've been speaking at a NATO summit or after the NATO summit in Vilnius in Lithuania. We've just been seeing President Nausėda of Lithuania addressing the podium and next to the flag of Lithuania and also next to the US flag. We're keeping a close eye on the expected appearance of President Biden in a few months' time. Ukraine's President Zelensky has himself expressed frustration at delays in making his country a NATO member at the summit in Lithuania. They've said you can be a member afterwards, not during the Russian invasion. We wanted to hear from ordinary Ukrainians about whether or not they shared their president's frustration. We'll learn I spoke to Shamil, who's originally from Ukraine, he's come from London, and Tatiana, who's in Zaporizhzhia.
I think it's absolutely crucial for Ukraine to join NATO because we've done so many losses over the course of this war, and to make sure that we can secure the safety and security of Ukraine in the long run, to make sure that Russia doesn't try to attack us in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, it's crucial for Ukraine to be part of a defense alliance with the rest of the country of NATO.
Tatiana, what do you
I completely agree because I understand that this is not just a question of this war, because our neighbor, the terrorist state Russia, it will always exist. And it doesn't matter actually who is the people of the government. So it's Putin or somebody else, because it's historical politics that they do for Ukraine. They think that it's a fact.
do stay with us. We have a message to take from someone who's in.
My name is Stanislav. I spent 15 years in trading and logistics of Ukrainian agricultural commodities living in Kyiv. And now I'm a soldier of Armed Forces of Ukraine. And I'm going to tell you why Ukraine should be in NATO. First of all, we need Western weapons and opportunities to stop this war. And also, we think that NATO should be brave like Ukrainians, and Ukrainians should be strong like NATO. Thank you.
Here with his thoughts. Back to our guests, Shemil and Tatiana. Shemil, I don't know if you saw some comments from the UK Defence Minister, Ben Wallace, who said with a note of slight frustration that there hadn't perhaps been gratitude from Ukraine. He said, we don't know the tone in which he said it, we are not Amazon, we won't just deliver. What do you make of those kind of comments, that potential sense of frustration from some of the allies?
We can absolutely understand the frustration that happens. And, you know, the West has been helping Ukraine fight this war, and we are absolutely grateful for that. We do understand that we could not support too much of NATO involvement in the war, because that would put the Article 5 question as well.
Article 5 is collective defence. One country in NATO, in fact, all have to come to that country's defence.
Exactly. So if Ukraine would join NATO before the war is finished, then legally the rest of the countries would have to provide their people as well to fight for the freedom of Europe, for Ukraine's freedom as well.
Tatiana, how do you see that Ukrainian relationship with the Western allies who are asked to support Ukraine with weapons?
I really appreciate for all the help that we received, but the thing is that I live in the city that is 30 miles away from the front line on the south, and the counteroffensive. This is actually the main thing that is happening during the last month. And for me, counteroffensive is not just news. It's all the time the silence of ambulance, because we have a lot of English soldiers. It's all the time air strikes that Russia do, and they become very heavy during the last week. And what is very sad that Russia unfortunately had 9 months to build the fortifications and to be ready for our counteroffensive, and we still don't have F-16 planes and other fighters, and that's why we cannot even we cannot do a proper raid in order to make our territory free. And that's why I understand maybe it's some politics very sad with our reaction, but for us, one more day is soldiers who are living their lives, and that's why maybe we had so much hope actually for this medicine.
Do stay with us, because although NATO said to Ukraine you cannot join right now, NATO has been offering, later, NATO has been offering what it describes as a long-term security pact. Here's what President Volodymyr Zelensky had to say.
We'd like to have a success on this summit for everyone, for our soldiers, for our citizens, for our children, for everyone, and particularly the security guarantees that are so important for the people. The security guarantees for Ukraine on our way to NATO, not in the of NATO, but a security guarantee on our way to integration.
And obviously, for those who are now very familiar with President Zelensky's voice, as many people have been since February last year, that was passing over a translator. I'm keen to hear from Tatiana, given the fact that you are currently in Ukraine, Zaporizhzhia at the moment. Just give us, our audience, a sense of your listeners from?
My daily routine is maybe quite normal because I have this good work. I can easily travel with people. But the problem is that 30 miles away, it's totally a destroyed city. It's a totally destroyed village. There's nothing there. And sometimes they just stay under the shelling just because they don't have nowhere to go. Because Ukrainians, you know, we are kind of not on the grave, but we also have attitude to our land. And that's why a lot of people just don't complete the place where they live with their life. And for me, as a person from the frontline city, maybe I was used to already to all the air raids, shelling. Today we had one Shahid, it was down actually in the city, and it was an explosion. So, you know, some things get quite normal when you are living just close to the front line. But I think that my life is totally fine except those situations where everything just close.
Ukrainians Tatiana and Shep in conversation. James Reynolds with you on OS from the BBC World Service. We're live from the middle of the newsroom here in central London. Let's take a look at a few more stories in the news. The Philippines has requested that a controversial link in the new Barbie movie be blurred, but it will allow the film to be screened. The production was banned in Vietnam for allegedly showing the 9-dash line on Earth. The line is hugely significant as it's used by China to assert its internationally rejected claims in the South China Sea. Another cheetah has died in a national park in India's Madhya Pradesh state, taking the number of big cat deaths to 7 in just 2 months. The Kuna National Park said the male cheetah named Tajat was found injured and died from suspected gunfighting. On conservation questions the suitability of king's habitat. And France is launching a bonus scheme to persuade consumers to repair their clothes and their worn-out shoes rather than throwing them away and buy new ones. The French Ecology Minister Bérangère Couillard complained that 700,000 tons of clothing ended up in landfill in France every year. Now, for the local sports news from Wimbledon, people no doubt wearing their finest straw hats for the temperature.
I haven't bought my hat today, probably not wearing my finest, but I'm smartly dressed, Jake. So many people on the centre court here in front of me. Holger Rune of Denmark, 16, has just won a point against Carlos Alcaraz, the world #1. We're neck and neck, we're toe-to-toe in this semi-final match, James. Alcaraz won the first set on a tie-break after they were relayed at 6-game draw, and he then won the last 4 points off that first set. To win the tie-break 7-3, we're neck and neck in the second set. 5-all, both these players 20 years of age. They used to play together in doubles when they were young, but it's lived up to the hype so far. This is the next generation. Both players are placed in the semi-finals here at Wimbledon. Over on court 1, currently another at this men's quarter-finals. The first seed, Daniel Medvedev, is taking on the American sister, the Eubank. One of the stories here at Wimbledon, making his debut. Eubank for this fortnight at the All-England saw the number 15 Stefano Tsitsipas against Medvedev. He's gone 2 sets to 1 up, but Medvedev pulled it back in the 4th. He went into a 5th and deciding set. Medvedev knows it's a great 3-love in the deciding set. Eubank needs to find something to potentially get another knockout here. The women's semi-final, Tunisia's on to third, knocked out the defending champion, and Elena Rybakina, what was a repeat of last year's final. On this basis is Jabeur, though, who put a set down to win 6-7, 6-4, 6-1. The 16 has talked about getting revenge and said she never gave up in the match.
To be honest with you, I just kept going, you know, I kept going for my shot, and because if you try to play like easy, it's not going to work, so I try to hit every shot, and show that I'm here on the court. You know, it's not easy always playing her, but I wish we can exchange this match from the final last year. If I can.
Wowing the crowd on Festival here. Jabeur will play the second seed Arena Sabalenka in the semi-finals on Thursday. That's after Sabalenka held past Madison Keys. The Belarusian second seed beat the American 6-2, 6-4 away from Wimbledon, and the women's Ashes between England and Australia is taking place in Bristol. It's the first ODI of the series. Australia comes 6 points to 4 up in the whole series pool. 40 wins. The first ODI, a short time ago, I can tell you, England are 115 for 2, and we need a further 149 runs from 35 overs. Elsewhere, later tonight, Britain's 2016 Paralympic champion Helen Peacock will attempt to win the blue ribbon Brisbane at the World Para Athletics Championship in Thursday.
Thanks so much to Dennis with the sport. It's so tempting to think about getting up at dawn and joining that queue in Wimbledon so I can get a ticket from public to go and see exactly what Dennis has been saying. As we wait for President Biden to appear on stage, one of his aides has just put his speech at the presidential podium in Lithuania. I want to think about what you might be doing in the summer. For me, it'll be plenty of sport watching. For my colleague, it will be plenty of cinema binge watching. Oppenheimer and Barbie, the film that Laura and many of you, no doubt, will be going to see. Come next Friday, it's a possibility that some of you will be seeing those films on the same day. Two films, one a serious biopic about the nuclear physicist who invented the atomic bomb, J. Oppenheimer, the original bombshell. The other is about another bombshell. The top Barbie will be released on the same day, starring Margot Robbie. The shared release date has led to many to discuss watching both films as part of an unofficial double bill. In which should people see those films?
Excellent question, James. It's got to be Oppenheimer first, hasn't it? Look at Oppenheimer WhatsApp group. Might be able to discuss this kind of thing right now. And as you said, lots of other people online have been discussing this, but yeah, it has to be Oppenheimer first. What a serious film. It's directed by Christopher Nolan. As I said, it's about that nuclear physicist. It's 3 hours long, so I think you go, you watch Oppenheimer first, you have a little brunch break, you have some mimosas maybe, you have a little chat about what you discussed, you digest that, then you go on to the Barbie film, which is a little bit lighter, a bit more fun, a bit camp. As I said, it stars Margot Robbie, it stars Ryan Gosling as well, and it's directed by Greta Gerwig, who's also directed things like Little Women. Noah Baumbach has written it as well. That's a little bit of a fun one to end the night on there.
Are they meant to be in competition as two films about radically different subjects and radically different approaches?
Yeah, well, I mean, it started as a bit of an internet joke. Let's go and see Barbenheimer, let's watch Oppenheimer and Barbie on the same day. Obviously, because they're such wildly different films in tone. But there has been some conspiracy online that potentially it isn't just a coincidence, because Christopher Nolan, who's directing Oppenheimer, has a bit of a rivalry, sort of a complicated history with Warner Brothers, who's the studio putting out Barbie. He's putting out Oppenheimer with Universal now. He's and they've had a bit of a rivalry in the past. So some suggesting Warner Brothers did this on purpose to put it in the face of Christopher Nolan.
Do we have any critical appraisal for what the films might be like? And I do realise that some films are immune from criticism. I'm suspecting Barbie, perhaps like Snakes on a Plane, might not necessarily.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, Barbie, they both had their world premieres, by the way, and Barbie is having its UK premiere tonight. Barbie fans have been queuing for it since 3 a.m. in London, in Leicester Square, to see the red carpet, or I guess pink carpet, but it's on it. But they both had their world premieres, and both of them have had really good responses. As you might expect, Oppenheimer, LA Times has said the most impressive work of Christopher Nolan yet. Total Film has said it's got some I'm surprised with Barbie. It's also had great reviews. One critic said give Ryan Gosling an Oscar nomination.
Okay, well, why not? I mean, it's up to me, fair enough. And, Laura, you're not following the Emmy Awards nominations, the numbers of the 27 for Succession. The thing I said to you in between actions that we were recording is I didn't know there were 27 categories.
Exactly, and it seems to grow every year, but you're right. Not a huge surprise, really, for the Emmys for Succession, which, as people probably know, it's the story of this big, ultra-rich family that's fighting for control of their father's media empire. Starring Ryan Cox, who also picked up quite a lot of nominations for Best Actor, as did, as well, 2 other actors in succession, which is very rare. It's the first time ever that 3 actors in the same series have been nominated simultaneously for lead actor. So they're going to first fight out Ryan Cox, Jeremy Strong, and Kieran Culkin.
We had to realise this. 2 members of staff who refused to talk about Succession because they were watching it at different times and didn't want any spoilers.
Come on, catch up.
We're talking private about Succession. Laura, digital media and entertainment correspondent in OF. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, we want to continue thinking about the effects of technology around the world, not just in the digital effects of Oppenheimer and Barbie, but AI and the effect that it has on people's jobs. The next story is that we tracked a heated debate on Twitter over a million people viewing, some of them waiting. That's because the Indian tech boss, who founded the e-commerce company JUL, is being criticized after he said on Twitter that his firm had replaced 90% of its support staff with an artificial intelligence tutor. It comes at a time, of course, when many companies in different countries are having the same sorts of dilemmas. People staff replaced with AI, other responsibilities to staff beyond just the marketplace. Mr. Sharp wrote about his firm's decision to use a chatbot, spoke to us earlier, and started by explaining his position.
So your objective was like completely reduce the spend on our firm altogether. Now customer support was like one such department where I could see like a lot of challenges. Because what we are building is an e-commerce platform where anybody can start their own e-commerce store using mobile phone. So ideal customer support agent should have a understanding of how exactly the e-commerce works and like all the technical aspects of it. Now, if somebody has like all this understanding, why would it work as a support agent? That's the first thing. So the problem that we used to see is, most of the time these people will keep responding generic answers just because they don't have the understanding of technology. Plus, we used to miss like a lot of insights, right? A lot of customers ask for the one specific feature, and if the customer support guy doesn't understand why exactly they're asking for and if important is to be converted to policy, then those kind of insights never used to come to us. Additionally, like 6 months back, we expanded across like more than 90 countries. So we started getting like queries across the globe at random times. I suppose you to work from just like 10 to 60, waiting for 48 hours for a company to reply to you for a simple problem. So that was like a reason why we felt that I can do this job much better way.
Did you not think about maybe giving the staff more training so that it can get better?
Each of these fields, like for example, if I speak about digital marketing, right? There is like Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing, and like hundreds of other things. And what we should have is the full understanding of all these things also. Until that is there, he won't be able to, give the proper responses to the customer.
Does AI do it better than humans?
Much better. Much better.
How many people did you make redundant in your company because of the tool?
I had about like 25 to 26 people, out of that 23 were there.
We had a lot of conversations about this on our this interview, and my colleagues have reminded me that, of course, in India, jobs fulfill not just a market function, but a social function as well, of making sure that older people, as they start out, and older people as well, have something to do, have a way of being productive members of society. Where does that stand for you, that social function of having a job in India, which is now recognized?
So I think like that principle is applicable for traditional businesses. If you think about like the tech companies, they are comparing themselves with the companies who are there in Silicon Valley. So that social thing, I don't think like any of the companies are paying much attention to. What they want to do is solve a problem and solve it at much larger scale.
You work in e-commerce. What would you say to the jobs in your company eventually?
If you consider departments like graphic design, that is absolutely going to be like not required in the future for sure. But there are tools where you are paying just $20 subscription a month, and that tech is capable of generating like millions of images. You just give a brief like what you want. Now that is something humanly like it's not possible at all. Like for example, if I want to run a Diwali campaign, and I will go to my graphics guy and ask him to design some nice creative or something which will take like 2 to 3 days. And I change my requirements, then it's going to take like another 3 days. Why not to get it done with technology? You can imagine, right? Like this 23 people, the salaries that we used to pay was like at least $600 to like $800 per month or above. Right now, the entire customer support is being run within like $200 max. That's the cost cut down because of AI.
The tech CEO, Philip Sharp, on the jobs that he's replaced with artificial intelligence. Taking out the thing is, Lithuania, President Biden, in the last couple of minutes, has begun addressing the group.
As a president, you can the cross between Lithuania and American people has never fallen. And yes, just 7 months after the bloody January crackdown, the first foreign visitor, the first foreign visitor, has passed Lithuania conceiving of this new reborn state for a train load of Lithuanian Americans from Chicago, Illinois. Oh. And their families are so proud of that. Los Angeles came after that. So what came after? Look, many Orthodox languages fled Lithuania during the early years of Soviet Russia and marveled at the return to this independent state. One of them told reporters, quote, "This day is like a resurrection for us. This day, Father, is like a resurrection for us." That's what the quote was. For real. That's the feeling. And it was. A resurrection that quickly became a revelation. And the nation that stands today as a stronghold of liberty and opportunity. A proud member of the European Union and of NATO. I have the great honor as the United States Senator of Champions, Lithuania, and other Baltic states to join NATO in 2004. Wasn't I great doing that? But all kidding aside, think about what it's about Jesus. Think about what's happened. Now, over the last few days, the President of the United States had the honor of participating in the historic NATO summit in Lithuania, where we welcomed NATO's newest ally, Finland, and reached agreement to bring Sweden into the alliance as soon as possible. President Erdogan kept his word. We witnessed the historic journey, and I'm proud to call Lithuania friend, partner, and ally. Soon NATO will be the 32nd freestanding country. 32 freestanding countries. Stand together to defend our people and our territory. Beyond all the rest, bound by democratic values that are strong, and by our sacred oath, and the attack against them is a sacred oath. Attack against one is attack against all. Because each member of NATO knows that the strength of our people and the power of our enemy cannot be denied. If I sound optimistic, it's because I am. Today, our alliance remains a bulwark of peace and security facilities as it's known for more than 7 decades. NATO is stronger, more energized, and yet more united than ever in its history. Indeed, more bound to our shared future. Didn't happen by accident, written in nose. But Putin and a string of lust for fame and power unleashed a brutal war in Ukraine. He was betting NATO would break apart. He was betting NATO would break. He thought our unity would shatter. He thought democratic leaders would be weak. He thought wrong. Faced with the threat. The peace and stability of the world, democratic values we hold dear, the freedom itself, we did what we always do. The United States stepped up, NATO stepped up, our friends in Europe and Italy, and then the Indo-Pacific stepped up. All across the world they stepped up. We're ready. We were ready because we stood together. In the months leading up to the war, Putin amassed his forces on the Ukrainian border and laid the groundwork for his brutal invasion. It was constant contact with my fellow leaders for the European Union and NATO. Constantly. We warned the world that Putin was planning. Even some in Ukraine didn't believe he was open to our assaults in defense. We made sure NATO was prepared for any aggression against any member state. We pursued intense diplomacy.
President Biden addressing a frantic crowd in Vilnius, Lithuania, at the end of the summit of the Western military alliance over the past couple of days, in which the state of the conflict has been addressed, discussed, argued about Ukraine wants immediate membership of NATO in order to get collective protection. NATO, essentially led by President Biden, says not right now, get that membership at the end of the war, not during the war. For President Zelensky has repeated the fact that he feels grateful for what he's received from individual nations. I'm James Reynolds. You've been with us on OS on the BBC World.
This is the BBC World Service at one of the world's most common botanical gardens.
We currently have the largest collection of plants from Japan in that designated self-early economic collections.
I'm Rosie Kinchon, and I'll be looking into the wider links between plant and colonialism.
Kew Gardens, blossoming after the British Empire. Tuesday at 8:30 and 19 GMT. In 50 minutes, witness history with me, Rena Stanton. I'm taking you back to Japan in 1999, when the launch of the world's first mobile phone and artificial intelligence into abundance. Stay with us. ISIS is next. This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
Coming up from Outlook with me, Naveen Farah. In the early 20th century, the Native American Osage Nation were the richest people per capita in the world. But then, the murders began. People's homes were blown, people's cars were run off the road. There was something. If you were an Osage, you were vulnerable. It might sound like the plot of a Hollywood movie, and eventually, that's what it became. To the director, Martin Scorsese, your ancestral story, then you might be wary. An Osage leader in Greece decided to speak up. Look at the history of Hollywood. Treatment of Native Americans. We know the white but the Osage point of view will get this through. You could do something completely different if the history said that. Murder, Mystery, and Martin Scorsese. The film reclaiming the Native American narrative. That's coming up after the news.
This is the news with leaders of the Shortwave group of the world's richest democracies have prominently long-term security commitment to Ukraine. President Zelensky controls East Korea. President Biden and G7 members were selected to help and ensure Ukraine would like some defenses and another key under the air. And Pakistan beginning of the China Sardinia.
What this is essentially the start of negotiations between G7 countries to start discussing with Ukraine how we can do more to try and keep up Ukraine's security in the long run. What we're talking about here is the gap between the onset of war and when Ukraine joins NATO, however long that may be, and they're looking for that period when there will be new and tougher security guarantees for Ukraine to deploy future Russian aggression regardless of what happens at the end of the conflict.
The British Defence Secretary has urged Ukraine to show more practice of the world and by the West. Saying all of the speaking to reporters coming to help. It outlined Ukraine was fighting an open war of not remember affecting countries that were not allowed to North President Zelensky would
I didn't know what the amount and how we should be grateful. Let him write. Maybe how else should I express my words of gratitude? Or I could get up in the morning and express words of gratitude personally to the minister. Really, I don't understand the essence of the question.
the management sector as the sharp increase in the number of people worldwide taking hunger. The estimate is 130 million more people have been pushed into hunger in the last 4 years. Imaging costs continues. In 2019, the 670 million people were going hungry. Today, that figure is 35 million. Levels of hunger rose significantly during the COVID-19 pandemic. There was a fourth at the start of last year. Now that modest progress has been undermined by the war in Ukraine and the relative rise in food and fuel prices. A new judge earlier this week potential the field of which combat teams have been named as two athletes. His identity has been identified. A statement said Mr. Edwards was suffering from severe mental health problems. That was the head of the hospital. The judge
was a BBC only television news production. The representative power utilisation system resulted from evidence indicating criminal offences into the group. Person death conflict between police and protesters in Kenya during the day of national demonstration against corruption issues and recruitment continues. South Coast report. Some of the work violence within the suburbs of the capital Nairobi. National airport. It's one of many main roads nationwide that cause crowds and barhouses. The opposition leader Raila Odinga called it a crowd riot, so he wanted to avoid any further violence.